Colton Dixon, rock star from American Idol, at that time ever think, someday
Not in a million
I'm
years.
gonna write a children's book?
Not in a million years.
Colton Dixon, is he too cool for a children's book? No.
My wife was like, man, why did you say it like that? Like, they have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm trying my best
It's
here.
hard to be on that level, yeah.
God's got really good plans for me. He's got them for you, for everyone listening. So it's our responsibility to stand on that promise, take him at his word. It's like, all right, God, like, what do you have for me? Like, be expectant. Noah's yes was yes. He didn't argue. And I'm like, wow, that's super challenging to me. Like, I want my yes to be unfiltered, unadulterated.
I love
yes.
that.
So how do I communicate that that's what pure faith looks like to a child?
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Matthew West Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew West, and as always, I really hope you like it. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Story House. Man, it's a beautiful day in Nashville, Tennessee, and it's a great day to be talking to my good friend. This guy's incredibly talented, man. His career started on national television on American Idol, but man, his story goes so much deeper than that. Today, we're going to be talking about all things music. We'll be talking about what drives him. We'll be talking about the tour he was just on. He's got a brand new children's book inspired by his hit song, Build a Boat. It's going to be a great conversation. Let's go to the Story House with Colton Dixon. He's fresh off of the grueling Winter Jam tour, 38 cities, I think.
Yes, 38 stops.
In 3 months.
3 months. Fresh is an interesting word for that.
You're not.
Yeah. Still
Well, you
still
smell
recovering.
good.
That's good. That's important.
But are you just exhausted?
Yeah, pretty wiped. Man, I don't know how it was for everyone outside of tour. I heard that the flu kind of made its way through everyone and everything.
Nation.
It was brutal on Winter Jam.
Jam?
Yeah, dude. There's a solid month where we were just like crawling to the stage. Just a brutal sickness time. Yeah,
Every artist got hit.
every artist
And their crew,
Yeah, man.
because it's close quarters. I mean, it's hard to quarantine when you're on a tour bus.
It is. It's tough.
So who on your team was the first? Like, did it just spread throughout your whole band and crew, or what?
I remember some of Skillet's crew they're like, hey, I think I have the flu. The flu turned into pneumonia for one of them. He's a trooper, their drum tech. And then lo and behold, I'm like, man, I'm starting to get this little tickle in the back of my throat. And then it just turned into full-fledged bronchitis, flu.
For you.
For me. And then John Cooper got it, and then it was just mass spread across the tour.
So did you have to cancel any of your performances?
I didn't, thank God.
You were able to sing through all of it?
One of the benefits to a tour like Winter Jam is like, all right, if I can tough it out for like 20 minutes,
20 minutes, yeah.
we're okay.
Yeah.
I'm praying there's no long-term damage to my throat.
Yeah. Because that is a concern. Like when you sing through sickness,
yeah, there's
a real you're putting yourself at risk of vocal cord damage.
Sure, but I think we're all good. Was able to manage.
It's no fun.
It's not fun being sick on the road.
Especially when you feel like you're not at your best vocally.
Yes, I know.
And you're in an arena.
I know it's the worst, but hey, I'm thankful we survived Winter Jam. I feel like we need the T-shirt.
Your show, yeah, I survived Winter Jam.
Yeah.
Now, did they give you an end of tour gift?
They did.
What was it this year?
A blanket this year. Which
a blanket.
I wish they would have given us at the top of the tour.
Yeah.
It would have been a great bunk blanket.
Because what the other part about Winter Jam, like when sickness runs, there's probably 150 people on the tour.
Yeah, at least.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're traveling in the winter months, obviously, Winter Jam, and it's not like Winter Jam goes to the West Coast either.
No.
So you're in cold cities in the coldest months of the year.
Yeah.
In cold arenas, a lot of them are like hockey arenas.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
So even though the ice is covered, you're in Columbus, Ohio, where the Columbus, what is it? Not Yellow Jackets, Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
But there's ice on the floor,
which
which means that arena is chilly.
It's cold.
So you're just fighting all the elements.
Oh, fighting all the elements. And this moron thought, I cut off denim vest was a good idea for January.
That was your
in an
uniform
arena.
on
That was
stage?
my onstage uniform.
Just had to show the guns.
You know, sun's out, guns out, as they say.
Was that your first time doing the tour Winter Jam, or had you done it before?
Bro, that was my 4th time.
Are you serious?
Doing Winter Jam. Yeah, that was my 4th full. We did a weekend in 21 when they were like testing the waters after COVID.
Oh, wow.
And then I have done a West Coast as well. But yeah, I'm like a
the
pro winter jammer.
Because
at this
there
point.
was a year where they tried to do, or a couple years where they did a Winter Jam West Coast.
Yeah,
Which
man,
that made the most sense to me. It was like, take me to warm weather.
100%. I'm still vying for Summer Jam.
I
think we need to start a petition.
Yeah, but then you get what you want. You get what you ask for, and then you're on the far other extreme of that spectrum.
That's true.
Like,
they'll all be outdoor shows.
In fact, there was like a summer. I did a summer tour that was like a summer jam.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, you know how summer festivals are. I mean, just
brutal.
The heat is brutal.
Yeah.
But this particular summer was like, I mean, everybody looked like they had been on the slip and slide by the time their show.
Yeah. Song number 2 rolls around.
So
pouring.
What happens for you after a 38 city tour? Do you give yourself, and does your team give you time to recover? Like, are you obviously, I feel like we're only days away from Winter Jam at the time that we're recording this podcast, and you're here having a conversation with me, and you're like, oh my gosh.
No,
like,
this is good. This is easy.
But like from a touring standpoint, are you jumping like right back into action again, or do you give yourself these days like some time to recover?
I feel like the conversation always begins with, hey, we need time after Winter Jam to recover. You know, but then lo and behold, along the way, there's always something that's booked.
So we really need Colton to go do this.
Yeah. So, or there was something that was booked forever ago that we didn't realize would line up so close. So we're doing an acoustic tour, just me and a piano. Really excited about that, actually. It'll be a nice change from all the bells and whistles of Winter Jam.
Yeah.
But that starts in like 2 weeks. But next weekend, we have a one-off that's a full 75-minute full band. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we're going from a 20-minute set, full band, to 75 minutes. I'm going to die.
Yeah, because for those who haven't seen the Winter Jam show, it's kind of like you're getting to see every artist's, if that artist was doing a Super Bowl halftime performance.
That's exactly right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not, and so even if you did see Colton Dixon on Winter Jam, I would dare to say that they didn't see the full show.
100%.
When you come back to that city, the 75-minute, like to get to see the full show, you're probably chopping up. You're doing surgery on your songs to, you know, like it's really the abbreviated show. So the adjustment, your voice probably gets trained to be like, you know, it's like a distance running and stuff like that. Like sprinters have a hard time running a marathon.
That's exactly right.
Vocally, it's a total different deal.
That's the best description of Winter Jam versus a normal show I've ever heard. Winter Jam is a full sprint. And normal shows are the marathon.
Yeah.
And having to go from one to the other is tough. Going from the marathon into the sprint is a lot easier than from the sprint to the marathon.
Right.
It's like, oh.
So you got your work cut
pace.
out. And then you mentioned too the difference between, and you're one of the few artists. I mean, you're set at Winter Jam. I got to go out to the tour, see the tour a few times, but your show was great.
Thank you.
Like high energy, just incredible. But you're one of those artists who can do the big show and like crush it on the level with any artist out there, like just high energy, amazing live show. But then you can go sit at the piano and you've got this acoustic tour coming up. Like you have this ability vocally and just musically and everything to sit down and, like you said, strip away all the bells and whistles and do a performance. Tell me though, I'm not even going to ask you what your favorite is, because if your answer is probably going to be similar to mine, that there's beauty in both of those types of performances.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're looking forward to about this acoustic tour that you're going to be embarking on.
Yeah. First of all, it's very kind of you to say. I would say the same thing about you. Me and the piano is kind of my safe space. Always has been.
Is that how you started?
That's how I started. So to get back to that, to kind of strip away all the fun elements and elements that help make moments, sure is awesome. But to be more intimate with even a more intimate crowd, like we're doing smaller venues as well. We're going to pack them out and do the thing. It's going to be way more vulnerable, going to have more time to share stories and get into that side of what God has called me to do versus the 20-minute sprint, of song surgery is going to be a really nice change.
Dude, that's awesome. And how many shows is that acoustic tour?
I want to say it's just shy of 20 shows. So
you've got a busy year.
It's a busy year.
And this is like, so how many shows in a year? I'm just curious for you.
It depends on the year. A couple years ago, we did 120.
My goodness.
120 something.
That was like
that was too much.
The whiplash. That was coming back from COVID, right?
Coming back from COVID. That was the year. We started the year with the Build a Boat tour, and it just didn't really stop.
They called it like revenge. Travelers, like when you couldn't go on vacation during COVID.
Yeah.
All these people, I had a real estate agent that I was talking to who was saying like, all these people are starting to travel to Europe again, and they're calling it like revenge travel or something because it was like they're getting back all the travel that was canceled.
It's spiteful.
Like, as artists, I think we did that on the touring.
100%.
And you said it started with Build a Boat?
Yeah, Build a Boat was our first big swing, even at headline tour.
For you to do your own headline tour?
Yeah, it had been forever for us to do a headline tour. So we're like, all right, this is the song. It's doing well. We're going to go out and see.
Massive song.
See how the crowd responds, see who comes out. And we were blown away by the response. So super grateful. But it did not stop that year. So lots of shows. The next year, I think we did about 100, which felt more manageable. But yeah, this is going to be a busy year.
So one last thought about Winter Jam. The last show of Winter Jam, Colton, was in Nashville, as you know, and we were talking before we started the podcast that the Nashville show is always a zoo because record labels, families, friends, all the things.
Yeah.
And I knew your family was at the Winter Jam Nashville show, not because I saw them. At least I knew your wife was there. Yeah. And the reason I knew is because my daughter was with me.
Okay.
And she said, Dad, on the way home, she's like, I saw Colton Dixon's show. I'm like, yeah, he was great, wasn't he? She's like, yeah. She's like, his wife is so beautiful.
Oh,
my daughter
so
Delaney.
sweet.
I was like, I'm like, oh yeah. Well, did you see her? She's like, yeah. She should be a model. Like, that's what my daughter was saying about. So
that's so
I didn't
sweet.
see her at the show, but that's how I heard she was at the show.
That's so sweet.
So touring though, like when you were just a young single guy,
just a young lad
on the road. Like I remember you and me toured together before you were married.
Yes.
So tell me now, obviously I know what it was like before I had kids, before I was married, man, I would go, no joke, I would go on tour. I would drive myself in my Honda Civic and I'd literally be gone for maybe 6 weeks at a time. I'd go play colleges, do all these things.
Sure.
And I would come back and I remember like the first time I was gone for an extended period of time and like I came back to my apartment and like my lights didn't turn on and like I didn't think about like, oh, I need to like,
I still have to pay these bills.
but like, you know, getting married and having kids, but like, so how do you view your touring now? Like, do you find yourself being more selective, doing fewer concerts so you can be present? How many kiddos you got?
We have two. We have the twins that are 4 years old. So yeah, I've realized the importance of saying no, even in not just my career, but to things in general, because when I say yes to something, I'm ultimately saying no to something else.
That's the truth.
And so when it comes to touring, it's like, all right, God has put this calling on my life. I know I'm made to do this.
Yeah.
However, I think ministry comes after family. I think it's God first, family second, ministry third. And so it's easy to get those out of order.
Gosh, yeah.
But when opportunities come up, you really have to weigh the cost of like, all right, like this means that yes, I'm doing XYZ for the kingdom. Lord, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
But that also means I'm not going to be with my family for this amount of time.
Yeah.
So that's something that I always try and filter through my wife too, because it's not just a calling on me. It's a calling on her and my girls as well.
And they'll let you know.
Oh, they will let you know. But I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah. I was watching this interview with, do you listen to John Bellion much?
Man, I've gotten into him more recently.
Gosh,
I've always like appreciate him from afar.
Yeah.
But what a talent.
He's just a crazy genius.
Crazy genius.
But, he hadn't released a song in like 6 years. And, dude, he was doing this interview, and he was saying that his son kept saying, for some reason, his little boy kept saying, Dad, I don't need any toys. I don't need any toys. Like, for several days, I guess, he was like, I don't need any more toys. I'm good. And he's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. And then I guess one night he was putting him to bed, and he's like, yeah, Dad, I don't need any more toys, so you don't have to leave me anymore to go work. And I was like, every single artist would have the same response that you just did. And he just kind of was like, he's like, it hit me. He's like, what am I chasing? Like, what am I chasing? And I thought, what a great question for you and me to ask ourselves when we get hit with an opportunity or when we feel that ambition rise up within us, is like, okay, what am I chasing? Guys, my friends at Simply Earth have started a company that makes it easy to create your own candles, soaps, and more, even for beginners like me. With the Simply Earth recipe box, you can make your own DIY natural products. Emphasis on the word natural, meaning good for you. And yes, I hope to show you some of me making some of these products myself soon. Why try it? Each box delivers pure natural ingredients and simple recipe cards right to your door. So start making natural DIY products while listening to the Matthew West podcast, of course, each week. Now, they tell me they have over 6,000 5-star reviews, and each month brings a new theme to explore. Plus, check this out. This company, Simply Earth, donates 13% of their profits to help end human trafficking. How amazing is that? So do your part to help end human trafficking and sign up for Simply Earth. Are you ready to get started? Go to simplyearth.com and use code WEST to get a free car diffuser with your subscription. Don't wait. These guys are awesome. You're going to love it. Join the Simply Earth community today. Help end human trafficking. Go to simplyearth.com to get started. So you have 4-year-old twins. Did they ever get to go on the road with you?
We took one stab at it when they were like 2. It was summer show, it was weekend, one show, and you're laughing because you know how this went already. I was a zombie before I ever walked on stage.
Right,
we were just
full-time dad mode.
Yes, and my wife, it was. They're great kids. They're easy. They're so sweet. We were wiped. And at the end, we're like, all right, if we do this again, we're going to need another set of hands. I'm either going to hire your mom or we need to hire a nanny. This is not.
Well, my daughter Delaney would sign up for that.
Okay. All right.
Which is crazy because I remember when you and I were on tour together, I don't know if you remember, but like my kids were close to where your kids' age are now.
100%.
And they were on the road.
I know.
And they feel like they grew up with Colton Dixon. Like they thought it was the coolest thing that they got to watch Colton Dixon perform every night. That was such a
That's
highlight.
So sweet.
Okay, so I gotta jump though. The fact that you have 4-year-old twins explains to me why Hot Off the Presses is an amazing children's book called Build a Boat.
Yeah.
Did Colton Dixon, rock star from American Idol, at that time ever think someday?
Not in a million years.
Write a children's book.
Not in a million years. I didn't think I was qualified then, nor do I think I'm qualified now.
But I love that it's like you. When I look at Colton Dixon, I'm like, all right, coolest artist around. I'm like, Colton's up near the top of the list, and then it's like Colton Dixon. Is he too cool for a children's book? No, he is leaning in. He's bringing all of his cool to make the coolest children's book. So obviously, you had this song called "Build a Boat," which before we're done, I hope to hear. I heard the word Sweden thrown in when we were talking off the air about how the song was created. But this song goes on to have a massive impact in people's lives. It was a massive smash hit on the radio, but just it's one of those songs that there's hit songs and then and you've learned the difference of this, and I have as well. It's like there's hit songs and there's impact songs.
Yes.
And Build a Boat, impact song.
Yeah.
It's just, it hits on a different level. It's the kind of song that you feel like you're probably going to be singing for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does it come about that you're like, all right, I'm going to turn this into a children's book?
Yeah. Man, I think it started, my girls love to read. So we'll be going through stories and some faith-based and some not, some just fun kids stories. But as even as my wife and I are trying to like, I don't know, instill into them like what it means to be like Jesus, you know, in our daily conversations, in our walk, in our everyday life. Some conversations I'm like, man, how do you explain what this looks like to a 4-year-old? Like, how do you connect the dots? I feel like I have trouble with that anyway. Like, I don't know why.
In your own life, let alone raising up a child.
Totally.
Yeah.
But even communicating that to my girls, no matter what it is, my wife is like, man, why did you say it like that? Like, they have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm trying my best
It's
here.
hard to be on that level.
Yeah. So it kind of like got me thinking like, man, I feel like when I was young, the Noah story was so visual. That's kind of where.
Like picture books.
Yes. Like it's rainbow, flood.
2x2.
You know, 2x2 animals, you know, the big boat, the whole thing. And that's kind of where it ended for me as a child. But now as an adult, I realize, wow, Noah's obedience is like the big theme here. Like, how amazing is that? Like God's promise, but then also Noah being obedient, and the Bible describing it as exactly that. Like Noah's yes was yes. He didn't argue. And I'm like, wow, that's super challenging to me. Like, I want my yes to be unfiltered, unadulterated.
I love
yes.
that.
So how do I communicate that that's what pure faith looks like to a child? So it started me off on this journey of like, you know, getting a lot of help, you know, by my friends. You know, I had Danielle Cook help me write this story and did a great job of these 2 little girls believing for a dog. They wanted a dog. And so they go to their parents, and their parents see it as a teaching opportunity. It's like, all right, if you want a dog, you're going to have to believe for a dog, you know. But also, faith isn't just hoping. Faith is an action. So dogs need a water bowl, and they need food, and they need a collar, and they need a doghouse, and they need all these things. So it's a story of these girls going out and acting out in faith that the dog is going to come. And so they're preparing, and they're getting all these things with help by all these different people. And then you can guess the rest of the story. You know, little dog shows up at the end of the story, and opportunity for the girls to see like, all right, cool. Like, when you put your faith into action, cool things happen.
That's amazing. So does that mean, is a dog entering into the Colton Dixon family?
Here lies the problem, Matthew.
You can't write a book like that.
I know, the Dixon family does not currently have a dog.
Oh,
so
dude.
My wife was even like, so.
I'm afraid you've just written your fate.
I think we just, yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. Did you think, like, when you finished the song Build a Boat, did you like, you know, sometimes people will go, man, I just had a feeling about this one. And then it comes to fruition, and even then it blows you away in terms of, but just tell me, was this one of those moments when you had the song Build a Boat written and recorded where you're like, I would bet the farm on this, or like?
Man, I would say, even getting into how the song was written a little bit, this song started in Sweden. These guys in Sweden came together, and they write a lot of songs. There's something about the Swedes. They know how to write a good hook.
I mean, Max Martin.
Yeah.
Like that lineage. I mean, come on.
So many great songwriters come from Sweden.
So it's just a couple like pop writers in
couple
Sweden?
Pop writers wrote this song called Build a Boat after COVID that was like, hey, let's build a boat and sail away. Let's get away from the world, just you and me.
No way.
Beautiful song. Like, it was amazing. The production was very similar. The melody was very similar.
So it still had, I will build a boat.
Yeah.
That
it was still that
it.
kind of swing swagger thing to it. Yep. But the content was a relationship, like, you know, you and your significant other, like, getting away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's interesting. I'm like, all right, well, that could be like, you know, getting your alone time with God. Like, I'm trying to like decipher through. I get a lot of pop songs sent my way because of my label Atlantic. So I'm trying to decipher through what can work and what we would need to tweak if we use the song and things like that. But this one, I'm like, man, there's something special about this, but I do know it would need an overhaul. So I went in with Seth Mosley, a writer here in town. Incredible. He's written a lot of my favorite, you know, Christian music over the years. We went in and we did subtle tweaks and sent it into Atlantic, and Fairtrade has been helping us out with like Christian radio and things like that. And they came back and they're like, we like it. We like the idea of it. It's just not, we don't think it's firing on all cylinders, So maybe we pass and we go another direction. And that was the moment for me that I was like, no, I know something's here. So
facing that kind of the voice of the doubter that kind of, it was testing you a little bit.
Exactly. It was kind of like, it's like, I hear you. I know give us one more shot. So Seth and I took another day, and that day we did what we should have done all along. We opened up God's word right to the Noah story, and we literally just like read through, and we were both so struck again by Noah's obedience in that moment as an adult now looking at that story, and we're like, wow, like, all right, put ourselves in his shoes. Like what was he feeling? He's like, no matter what it takes, like, I'm going to do what God has called me to do because of the promise that he gave. So even if that means like building a boat in the middle of the desert, great, let's go. So it was kind of that attitude. It's like, bring on the rain.
That's what I was going to say. Bring on the rain. That line at the end, it's like an extra little hook, but it's just that emphatic, like, I'm going to be courageous and obedient in this.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think that sometimes, Christians, I've been in these shoes. We feel like we have to approach the world with like being timid or shy. It's like, no, I think God's given us a bold spirit. Like, call those things not as though they are. Like, walk out in your faith. Yeah. Like, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So walk it out. Be bold. So that was kind of the opportunity for us to be bold lyrically. And I'm so glad, so thankful that we had that second shot at writing that song, because we all collectively went, okay, we feel really good about this.
Do you feel like what year were you on American Idol?
It was 2012, I believe.
The further that gets in the rear view, does it, like, obviously it's still a huge part of your story, but like, does it feel even real?
It feels like it feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
It's odd. Like, even seeing, like, we're in the process of moving. We were talking before we jumped on the podcast, but like, I found the American Idol poster that we all signed, in my studio. Crazy. And I'm just like, wow, yeah, I guess that was real. That happened. That really happened. Or you'll see a snippet. It's like,
how old were you?
I was, I was like 19, 20 years old.
That's crazy. So, like, when I look at your story or like your career too, like, I see just a ton of perseverance for you too, because it's like, how many people have gone on a show like that, and then like I was watching this. I think Carrie Underwood posted something, like, she was at American Idol, and she posted a picture with Bo Bice. Did you see that on Instagram?
No, I didn't.
Remember Bo Bice?
Oh yeah.
And like, everybody has different trajectories, you know what I mean? But like, some people like have a massive splash on national television, and then just maybe aren't even in music anymore.
And it's
crazy. Just, different trajectories, different plans. But I look at you and I go, like, you have everything you've accomplished has been hard fought and hard earned. It hasn't been without challenges. But like, when you were that 18, 19-year-old kid going on American Idol, obviously it's funny because for those who are listening to the pod and not seeing the t-shirt you're wearing, it's a vintage Michael W. Smith shirt. What were you a Christian, like, wanting to do, like, going on to American Idol at the time? Were you going, I want to tell people about Jesus through my music? Or was it more like just tell me where was your faith in that point? Like, did you grow up in a Christian home?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Grew up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So I'm a local kid. Grew up in church.
You always wanted to, like, did you grow up listening to Michael W. Smith?
Yeah. Michael
music?
And Stephen Curtis and DC Talk. And I slowly got more and more rock and roll as I got older. But I've always had a heart for Christian music, and I can't explain it other than I loved the way it made me feel versus other genres of music. Like, I feel like it's not emotion, it's something more spiritual than that, but the emotional feeling wasn't there with other kinds of music. So I I went after that. I sought after that, even as I was writing my own music and learning how to play piano and being forced to sing for the first time at 13 and, learning, oh, wow, I
Where
have
were you
this
forced
gift.
to sing?
I was at a piano recital. I'd been taking piano for a few years, was playing I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me.
Nice.
And my piano teacher was like, hey, bud, I set up a microphone. I feel like you need to sing. And I'm like, you're crazy. Like, I'm a 13-year-old kid going through puberty. Like, not a good idea.
Nice.
Hard song to sing anyway,
Yeah.
But I did, which is so crazy to me looking back, that I even had the courage to go do it. But man, I firmly believe I encountered Holy Spirit for the first time that night. And I knew that music was going to be a part of my story.
At 13.
At 13 years old.
Wow.
So I started pursuing that and started, I was a big sports guy up until that point, loved baseball. But I started letting some of those things go because I felt like that music was going to be the thing. So glad looking back.
Yeah.
I think I made the right decision, but super grateful. But yeah, that was kind of the start of, okay, music is going to be this thing that God uses to tell people about him.
And of course, you get on American Idol, and then do people I feel like you probably could have signed with any, I don't know what the rules are and stuff, but if you go a certain, if you get to a certain place in the contest,
Sure,
then they lay claim to you kind of thing.
Yeah.
Did that wind up happening to you, or were you free and clear after that show to go sign with whoever you wanted?
Yeah. So for our season, it was the top 24. We all signed the same contract. And then it was basically 19 Entertainment was like
I remember
the
that.
management company.
Yeah.
They also partnered with Interscope, with Jimmy Iovine on the label side. So it was kind of their decision on who they picked up and who they didn't. Mm-hmm. I made it to number 7. So I wasn't expecting them to pick me up at all. But I remember them calling me into their office the very next morning after I got eliminated. And they're like, hey, we just want you to know we're going to exercise our option and we're gonna pick you up and we're gonna keep this train moving. You're gonna go do the press stuff in New York that all the contestants do, and we're gonna fly you right back to California. We're gonna do 2 weeks of writing. That was, to this day, that's the most songs I've ever written in 2 weeks.
Really?
I did 15 songs in 14 days. And I was just like, that doesn't sound as crazy maybe.
No.
Like I hear Ed Sheeran writing 8 or 9 songs in a day. I'm like, wow, that guy. That was a lot for me, especially at the time. But songs like You Are and Never Gone, my first 2 radio singles,
all
came out of that
from
trip.
That 2 weeks?
Yeah. So grateful for that time. But yeah, it was a wild journey being with 19 Entertainment, but then them realizing pretty early on they don't know the Christian music industry. And even in that 2 weeks.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, though. You were even then, you were determined to do Christian music.
That's where my heart was, but I also didn't want my heart to get in the way of what God had for me. So it was open. Kind of open-ended, all right, God, I want to do Christian music, but also I've been on this secular mainstream TV show. And so if the goal here is to be a light in a dark place, I'll go do that, but if it's to maybe bring over some fans from Idol over to the Christian music industry and tell them about Jesus that way, great.
You're open.
I'm open.
You're not going to, but you were never, I'm just curious, were you ever pushed to go was there a moment where you were like, I'm being asked to compromise on my beliefs here and I'm not going to do that?
The only thing that I really can remember, and I'm grateful it wasn't what you would think. They gave a blanket, don't get political, don't get religious to all the contestants. They're like, you're going to pigeonhole some of your audience,
Sure.
And completely agree, but they also said, be true to who you are. And I couldn't imagine not telling people, about how amazing God has been to me and my family. So it's just always been a part.
Dude, that's incredible, man. And so after how many records have you put out now?
I don't know.
Different labels.
Let's see. There were 3 with Capitol, and then 2 EPs with Atlantic so far. So 5 projects. We're getting ready for another one, so we're excited about that.
What do you feel like at this stage in your artistry? One, Do you still love it?
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I do.
I watch you on stage and I'm like, yeah, he loves it. He's not just punching a clock.
No, I love it. I have days, and God deals with me on those days, but I'm so grateful. I if ever I get that out of whack, I think back to myself in high school going to a tour like Winter Jam.
Yeah.
You know, and watching, being super like moved by everything that's going on and noticing like, all right, Holy Spirit's here and he's moving and this is amazing. But also, I mean, picking apart every little detail of everyone's set, not in a bad way, just taking notes.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and thinking, man, if I ever get to that place, I've made it, you know? So the fact that I've been able to do a tour like that 4 times now, like, it's amazing. So if I ever get too big for my britches, please let me know.
No, dude, I love it. I mean, I feel like you have to love it to persevere through the ups and downs that, you know, a career like yours, a career like mine, like these are the tests. And even like you said, like bringing a song in and having a label go, not so sure. It's like somebody with, you know, somebody else might just be like, okay, that's not the one, we're going to move on. But it like tests you to go, no, I really think I'm willing to go back in. I'm going to keep working on this. And then it goes on to be just such an impactful song. And then another one coming right after it with Up and Up, which has blown up on the radio. Like, tell me what the inspiration for that song was. I'm just curious.
Yeah, Jeremiah 29:11 has always been one of my favorite verses. And I don't know, the way I grew up can sometimes be poverty minded, you know, just this idea that we as believers don't get the best. And I think that's backwards. You know, Jeremiah says, for I have good plans for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. The Bible also says the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come to give you life and life more abundant. So to me, it's like, all right, God's got really good plans for me. He's got them for you, for everyone listening. So it's our responsibility to stand on that promise.
I love it.
I mean, to take him at his word. It's like, all right, God, like, what do you have for me? Like, be expectant. And so a song like Up and Up is like, it's a reminder. It's a very fun, upbeat reminder, but it's a reminder like, hey, like, even when you find yourself in the valley, like, God's there to pick you up again. So just keep declaring that promise. And
I love that message in companionship, in partnership with the message of bold obedience from Build a Boat too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like preparing for God's blessings in your lives and being obedient to what he has put in front of you today.
Yes.
And like, I think your career is like a testament to that, to like going, all right, this is what's in front of me today. COVID just hit. This is what's in front of me today. I got bronchitis in Winter Jam. This is what's in front of me today, but I'm going to continue to step forward. That's exciting. So the book, the children's book, Build a Boat, your first ever, is out and available everywhere, or is there somewhere specific you want to send them?
Website, coltondixon.com.
Okay.
This was done independent. So we did it all ourselves. We went to a couple interested
like
publishing houses, and they were like, we're super interested in this. We could get it out sometime in like 2027.
That's how it always is.
I'm like, man, I love that you're interested. We're going to have to pass. It's just too long for us. Can't wait that long.
How quickly were you able to, like, from writing to
from conception to it finishing? It was, I mean, I think it was less than a year.
Wow.
It was still longer than we'd hoped. Our goal was to have it top of Winter Jam.
Was it the printing that took the longest?
Printing took forever, and finishing the illustration, the guys at Atlantic actually in their art department, they killed the illustrations. It's so cool.
Oh, the label did it for you.
So the label helped a ton. We paid them. It was kind of separate from the label. But we
their art department.
We hired their art department. They did both of my album covers as well with Atlantic. But they just slayed it. That was important to me. I'm like, I'm not just gonna phone this in. Like, this is a branch of who I am as an artist as well. So I want this to. I want anyone to be able to pick this up and go, oh, this is quality, and he did a really good job and was intentional with this. So had a lot of help with from my friends, but that's
awesome. Well, we got a lot of parents that listen to the podcast, and I know they're going to all pick up a copy at coltondixon.com. Acoustic.com.
That's
Get a
it.
copy of Build a Boat, the children's book. But man, so many exciting things happening for you, and I'm just proud of you, just seeing what the Lord's done in your life and the message that you're putting out in the world, just of bold obedience and just what does it look like to follow Christ. And I mean this, like, you know, growing up, like raising little girls and like wanting them to have artists that they can look up to, that I would be like proud of them to be like fans of that artist, you know. And I think sometimes, I've said this before on the pod, but like I think in Christian music we don't always do a good job of allowing like fandom. Like it's almost like you were talking about the poverty mentality.
Sure.
I think sometimes that manifests itself in like in our industry, it's like you're not supposed to be a fan of anybody other than Jesus.
Oh,
it's like,
sure.
obviously,
Yes.
like I follow Jesus, right?
Yeah.
But like I think a lot of times in our industry we don't allow like ourselves to like actually be fans of an artist.
For sure.
It's
Fans,
like, no,
yeah.
I'm ministered to by their music. But like when I think of like young kids, man, like when I watch my daughters, it's like they have more permission to be a Morgan Wallen fan than a fan of like somebody who they actually like in Christian music.
Isn't that so interesting?
Right?
Yeah.
And
true.
so I that's the long way around of saying like my little kids were on tour with dad and it was like dad's music, whatever, like, you know, it's dad, but like
I'll be there one day.
But Colton Dixon, man, that guy's awesome. Like they were fans, growing up fans of Colton Dixon. Like, so as a dad, like I thank you for that. And like how many other people out there, just, I don't know. It's been awesome to see how the Lord's used your platform. And I was just excited to have you on the show. Cause it's like, man, I love seeing artists like you branch out too and going like, hey, sometimes the music is just like the beginning of the way that song's going to impact
Absolutely.
culture, right?
Absolutely.
So for you to tap into like a children's book, like I've seen that happen. Like now it actually changes the way I write songs.
Really?
Oh, 100%. Because it's like, now I'm thinking of like, you know, it's like a book. I mean, it's like literally always going like, hey, this song, is there more to unpack here? And then what are the ways I can do that? 100%. And then the stuff that flows from it, if you're passionate about it, obviously. Like this podcast is like proof of that. It's like, oh, I actually enjoy writing songs, but I actually enjoy talking with artists about their songwriting process too. And then
totally
just other things can flow, and then you can start to realize like, oh, there's different ways that God might have for me to impact culture. So for Build a Boat to have this massive impact, and now here's this children's book. It's like, who knows how God might continue to use the platform that he's given to Colton Dixon, so long as you continue to be bold in your obedience to him, man. Great things to come, dude.
I appreciate it, man. I completely agree. I think sometimes we put God in a box, even in our own careers.
100%.
And he's like, man, just take away those limitations and watch what I do.
Yeah.
On the fan side of things, I think it's so cool. Like I grew up a big Matthew West fan.
Oh, come on, dude.
Like Motions was one of my favorite songs on the radio. Remember seeing you at a Brown Bag concert in Franklin, Tennessee, you know, to
I
now
remember that show.
Like, you know, getting to be on the road with you and now even just hearing that your kiddos are fans of mine is a really weird full circle thing. My brain's not fully comprehending.
It's beautiful,
but it's
man.
beautiful. But I'm thankful for what you do as well.
Thanks,
and what you
Cole.
continue to do so well.
Well, God's going to continue to do great things in your life and your family, man. I love it. I knew you'd be an inspiration for everybody listening to the podcast today. Send our listeners. Oh, by the way, I'm kind of proud of myself, but of all the great things about Colton Dixon that we've talked about today, and we're both sniffling through our allergies.
I know
this episode, but I made it through the whole episode without acknowledging, you know, the fact that you also have the coolest hair and have had the coolest hair in Christian music. I just, you know, it's like, hey, I know that it's not a vanity project here. This guy's the real deal. And on top of that, he's got cooler hair than I'll ever have. So I wanted to at least make sure I want you to know that I appreciate the efforts made on the scalpel region.
I appreciate it. I'm just trying to keep up with Jordan Felice and Brandon Lake in this category.
Dude, you do have some competition these days.
There's some stiff competition these days.
Jordan's got the
locks.
He's got the locks.
He does, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, bro.
All right, send us out today though. I know you've already just given us so much encouragement, but like somebody out there who feels like God's calling them to do something, maybe in the spirit of Build a Boat, right? Let's send them out with some encouragement to say, man, they're having a hard time stepping out in faith, even though they know God's called them to do it. What would you say?
I would say it starts now. It starts with the here and now. When you're a good steward over something little, God will make you a steward over something much. And it's easy to look on the other side of the fence where you might think the grass is greener.
Yeah.
I will say the grass is greenest where you water it. So water your own grass. Take the time and spend time being a good steward of what God has put right in front of you today, and you'll be amazed at what God does with it.
Colton Dixon, man, you're awesome. Thanks for
joining
me.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right, that's the show for today. Thank you guys for joining me. Thanks to Colton Dixon, man. He's the best, and love getting to catch up with him. He and I go way back, like we were talking about, being on tour together, and just been awesome to see what the Lord's doing through his music, through his platform. Be sure to check out the children's book, Build a Boat. It's available at coltondixon.com. We'll post a link in the liner notes as well. And man, thank y'all so much for listening. I love you, and I will be back next week. Remember, it's your story for his glory. See you next week.